Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to see you again in today's news program. Here, we and you will share and interact with the latest news and hottest events that are of interest to the public at home and abroad. Details will be available shortly.
Tensions along the Thai-Cambodian border are heating up as both sides continue to accuse each other of violating sovereignty and the ceasefire agreement. Specifically, on September 18th, T. Kims has reported that the Royal Thai Navy has warned that it will take action if Cambodia does not comply with the bilateral agreement, demanded the removal of structures and ditches in disputed areas along the Thai-Cambodian border in Trat Province, a claim Cambodia has rejected. Earlier this week, Thailand expressed concern about the presence of Cambodians in an area it claims is under Thai jurisdiction. However, in a statement on September 16th, the Cambodian Ministry of National Defense said the Cambodians in question were residents of the village of AP, Thursday Mauda Commune, Vang District, Phuzat Province, Cambodia. This village is opposite Pan Chamriak Village, Chamriak Commune, Muang District, Trat Province, Thailand. Cambodian Defense Ministry spokesman Lieutenant General Mali Suchita said that through the official response letter from the Cambodian Military Region 5 Command dated May 1st, 2022, some issues have been completely resolved, and the remaining issues, which are beyond the jurisdiction of border units and local border authorities. Cambodia has proposed to refer to the Joint Border Committee JBC for discussion and resolution in accordance with the Memorandum of Understanding between Cambodia and Thailand and the MU 2000 Land Border Survey and Delimitation. Cambodia calls on all parties to avoid actions that may increase tensions or expand disputed areas. The spokesman added that Cambodia would take this opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to cooperate with Thailand at all levels to promote peace, stability, cooperation, and development for the benefit of both countries and peoples. However, according to The Nation on 18, the Thai Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirmed that the measures in Ba Nong Yakaw, Sakal Province, were taken to deal with illegal acts on Thai territory. The ministry stressed that the removal of security barriers by Cambodians constitutes multiple crimes under Thai law. The incident occurred when about 200 Cambodian villagers crossed the border in a Sakal and destroyed the Thai forces barracks. Thai riot police used tear gas and rubber bullets, while the Cambodians responded with wooden sticks, stones, and slingshots, injuring several Thai officers. Earlier, Rear Admiral Barak Ratanachai Yabin, deputy spokesman of the Royal Thai Navy, accused Cambodian forces of trespassing and setting up an operational base, and Cambodian people of building houses and using farmland along the Thai-Cambodian border in 3 areas: Ban Tram Rak District, Mong District, Trat Province of Thailand. After discovering the construction of these structures, the Kanturi and Chat border commands repeatedly sent diplomatic notes of protest, calling on the Cambodian side to withdraw from the undemarcated area. Analysts have called on both countries to rely on the 13-point ceasefire agreement reached on September 28th after 5 days of fierce fighting to resolve the dispute. Meanwhile, on September 18th, the U.S. State Department issued a statement calling on Thailand and Cambodia to cool down the situation at the border. Washington proposed establishing an international observer mission with ASEAN participation to ensure transparent monitoring and prevent the risk of conflict. On September 17th, Deputy Spokesperson of the Thai Military Police Kanokin Jach Fan denied that former Prime Minister Thin Zinawatra bought pizza for 6,500 guards and inmates to hold a party at Song Prem Central Prison, where he is serving his sentence in Bangkok. This statement was in response to information given by former artist Watara Thong, accusing former Prime Minister Thak Si of ordering pizza last week to hold a party in prison for guards and inmates to gain influence inside the prison. According to Mr. Phet Thong, the amount of money that Mr. Thak Xian spent on pizza exceeded the daily allowance for prisoners, and Kin once said this was a misunderstanding, explaining that some outsiders bought pizza on September 13th for police and guards coordinating security traffic on the road in front of the prison. Mr. P. Rod, director of Song Rem Central Prison, confirmed that the pizzas given had nothing to do with Mr. Thin. The deputy spokeswoman for the Department of Corrections added that prison directors have the right to decide whether inmates are allowed to host parties for fellow inmates by buying food.as with New Year's birthdays. She stressed that such events are only allowed occasionally to prevent inmates from using them to gain influence in the prison. Thak Xin is being held at Song Brem Prison in Bangkok after the Thai Supreme Court ruled he had not served his sentence properly in 2023 and must serve a year in prison. Song Brem is one of Thailand's strictest detention facilities. On March 15th, Thak Xin was transferred to the prison's medical treatment area due to his age and chronic health conditions. As of March 17th, he was still in the infirmary, spending most of his time reading. The Department of Corrections is considering assigning Thak Xin to be a language teacher for other inmates.
Recently, General That Chai Pilabut, Inspector General of the National Police and head of the Cyber Police Task Force of Thailand, held a press conference after a 10-day meeting with Lieutenant General Zhang Saris, Deputy Commander of the Cambodian National Police, to tackle cybercrime and cross-border fraud. The meeting ended with the two sides signing a joint agreement, agreeing to cooperate in cracking down on scam rings. Accordingly, Cambodia will launch a campaign within 1 month, while Thailand will monitor online complaints. Mr. That Chai said the meeting took place after the negotiation room of the Cambodia-Thailand Border Committee, GBC, on 10th of March in Cambodia focused on dismantling scam gangs of Thai citizens and remembering a broader effort to combat the problem of technology crime. The discussions highlighted the serious impact of scam centers and human trafficking that caused great confusion and damage. The Thai side provided the Cambodian side with detailed information on the call center groups that had been identified to support the sweep. Under the Cambodian leadership, a crackdown plan was developed to target the centers identified by Thailand. The results of the operation will be reported at the next GBC meeting. Mr. That Chai noted that the meeting lasted more than 10 hours due to the need for thorough negotiations on the details of the agreement. In the end, the two sides reached a consensus. Thailand will closely monitor the effectiveness of Cambodia's measures by monitoring online complaints from Thai victims.
Recently, the Chinese embassy in New Zealand said it had sent a strong protest note to the New Zealand government about the groundless harassment and temporary detention of Chinese citizens' devices when entering and transiting through the country's airports. Specifically, in a statement posted on its official WeChat account, the Chinese embassy in New Zealand accused local intelligence agencies of groundlessly interrogating and temporarily seizing the personal electronic devices of some Chinese citizens when they were in transit. The agency also said it had recorded a number of similar cases before when Chinese citizens entered or transited through New Zealand. The Chinese embassy representative has sternly communicated with the New Zealand side, expressing strong opposition to the measures considered unreasonable, and at the same time demanding that the New Zealand government stop the harassment, respect the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese citizens, and ensure a safe, friendly, and non-discriminatory environment for Chinese students, tourists and passengers when arriving or transiting through New Zealand. At the same time, the Chinese embassy recommends that Chinese citizens planning to transit through New Zealand or staying here raise their awareness of safety, carefully prepare documents and equipment before completing immigration procedures. In case of need, they can promptly contact the Chinese representative agencies in New Zealand for consular protection and support, responding to the above information. The New Zealand side said that all entrants must comply with the laws and regulations of this country, especially those related to national security and border security. The New Zealand Ministry of Foreign Affairs stressed that the enforcement of these regulations is applied equally, regardless of nationality, and said that it has discussed and explained related cases with the Chinese embassy. New Zealand also affirmed that the enforcement process is subject to independent and strict supervision.
During a rehearsal for an air show in China on September 16th, two aircraft collided in midair. After the collision, one of the aircraft crashed to the ground and burst into flames upon impact. Videos posted by Chinese state media showed the two aircraft performing aerial maneuvers in formation flying close together. The footage then cuts to one vehicle engulfed in flames as rescue workers work at the scene. The incident occurred in Changchun, a city in northeastern China's Jilin province. as the city prepared for the 5-day air show. Scheduled to open on September 19th, the aircraft, also known as Evatone electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles or flying taxis, were developed by Spur Aero HD.IT, is one of Asia's largest aircraft companies and a subsidiary of electric vehicle maker Spur. The company said the crash was caused by insufficient clearance and said an investigation was underway. Spur said one aircraft suffered damage to its fuselage and caught fire upon landing. The company added that all personnel at the scene were safe and that local authorities had completed emergency response measures in an orderly manner. The Avans are expected to sell for close to $300,000 each. Spur Euro said in January it had received 3,000 orders. The incident raises concerns about the safety of the aircraft and the challenges ahead in commercializing them. The aircraft are part of China's plan to develop a low-altitude aviation economy, which refers to services that involve aircraft flying below 3,000 meters, such as UAV deliveries, flying taxis, and other unmanned aviation services. According to China's Civil Aviation Administration, the sector is expected to reach $206 billion this year and could grow to a market size of $482 billion by 2035. However, it is facing major obstacles including inadequate infrastructure such as landing and takeoff points, management challenges, technological reliability, and public acceptance.
The interim government formed after 2 days of protests last week declared a national mourning on May 17 to remember those killed in youth-led anti-corruption protests, the Home Ministry said, according to AFP. The protests began on May 8 after a social media ban in Nepal, but quickly spread amid public anger over corruption and persistent economic hardship. At least 19 people were killed on the first day. As authorities used force to quell the crowds, the anger then escalated, sparking a wave of anger across the country that saw the burning of government offices, a Houston hotel, and other buildings. Hami Nepal, a key organization in the protests, said the changes we see today would not have been possible without the courage and sacrifice of those who died in the protests. Interim Prime Minister Sila Kaki, 73, a former Supreme Court judge, has been tasked with restoring order and addressing protesters' demands for a corruption-free future ahead of elections due in 6 months. Shop owner Puza, 22, said the National Day of Mourning would also bring people together. We are all sad about what happened, about the lives lost. We are all young people like us. The situation has improved and we hope the new government will bring the changes we need. According to the World Bank, 1 in 5 Nepalese youth aged 15 to 24 are unemployed, with GDP per capita at just $1. For 47 on March 17, police spokesman Binit Ken updated the death toll from the protest to nearly 73, including police and prisoners. He said more than a third of the 13,500 prisoners who escaped from about 20 prisons during the protests were recaptured or volunteered. Many of the prisoners still at large include notorious criminals. Karen said about 5,000 prisoners have returned to prison so far. Many of them volunteered. Last week, Avinat Ray, 46, a convict convicted of smuggling, shocked his family when he showed up at his home in Kathmandu during anti-government protests in Nepal. Protesters then paralyzed security across the capital, breaking into a series of buildings in the city, including Naku prison where Rai was serving his sentence. We were on our own, there was no police around, there was arson, and the prison gate was opened, Ray said. When he stepped outside the prison, Ray saw chaos and fires burning around the city. Ray said it was a really bad time. On 17th, Ray returned to Naku prison, walked through the burnt gate and surrendered to the police. Nepalese security forces have restored order at the prison and are trying to hunt down the escaped inmates.
On September 17, during his visit to Beijing, South Korean Foreign Minister Zhou Hui stressed that Seoul wants to make progress towards denuclearization and peace on the Korean peninsula, and asked China to play a role in bringing Pyongyang back to the negotiating table, according to information from the South Korean Foreign Ministry. Foreign Minister Zhou Hui made the above statement during his first private talks with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi on the afternoon of September 17. The meeting took place in the context of South Korea's efforts to restore inter-Korean relations and resume dialogue with North Korea despite the latter's repeated rejection of South Korea's offer, according to the South Korean Foreign Ministry. During the talks, Foreign Minister Zhou Hui asked China to support and encourage North Korea to return to dialogue to achieve the goal of denuclearization and peace on the Korean Peninsula through negotiations and cooperation. For his part, Wang Yi affirmed that China will continue to play a constructive role for peace and stability in the region and agreed to maintain close communication. That he also made it clear that the China-ROK bilateral relationship is built on a solid foundation of good and friendly relations, with a focus on promoting mutually beneficial cooperation and sustainable development for common interests. Another focus of the talks was the ROK's proposal to cooperate to ensure that the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) summit scheduled to take place in Incheon from October 31 to November 1 will be an opportunity to help the two countries promote bilateral relations and bring tangible benefits to the people of both sides. Although China has not yet confirmed, Chinese President Xi Jinping is expected to attend this APEC summit. South Korea believes that if Xi Jinping attends the APEC summit, the two sides will reaffirm stable bilateral relations and allow the leaders of the two countries to discuss important issues of mutual concern, including North Korea. According to the plan, China will host APEC next year. Currently, South Korea is trying to balance its relations with China while maintaining its strategic alliance with the U.S. and strengthening trilateral cooperation. South Korea, U.S., Japan. The South Korean foreign minister has stressed that President Lim's government will continue to strengthen relations with the U.S. but at the same time pursue a foreign policy based on national interests and pragmatism to develop strategic cooperation with Beijing.
On the afternoon of September 17, a shooting occurred in the U.S. state of Pennsylvania, leaving 5 police officers with bullets, 3 of whom died. Zen cited sources as saying that the shooting appeared to have occurred while police were serving a court arrest warrant. The shooting occurred at 2 p.m. when the 911 emergency operator received a call about an incident in the town of North Codorus in Han York, central Pennsylvania. Colonel Christopher Paris of the Pennsylvania State Police announced at a press conference that 3 police officers were killed and 2 injured people were in stable condition at the hospital. The shooting suspect was shot down by police. Police are still investigating but believe there is no longer a threat to the public. Welpan Hospital, where 2 seriously injured people were treated, has been placed on lockdown to increase security. Witness DeMiller told NBC News that he was driving home when he pulled over to make way for a police car and heard gunshots. He estimated he heard about 30 shots. He said there were so many shots fired, more than I could count. Governor Jose Shapiro and Attorney General DeSunday rushed to the scene. Shapiro called it a very tragic and devastating day for Joe County and the entire state of Pennsylvania. Shapiro also acknowledged that he had received a call from U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi offering any assistance needed from the federal government. Lieutenant Governor Austin David urged the public to pray for the officers and those involved in the cooking of the gun to follow the instructions of the authorities. Pam Bondi announced that the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, ATF, were also on the scene to assist. Bondi wrote on social media that violence against law enforcement is a scourge on society and will never be tolerated. To pray for the officers involved. Homeland Security Secretary Christiam confirmed that he is monitoring the situation and working with relevant partners, with the North J and South Jor police departments leading the investigation. Schools in the area were ordered to shelter in place but were later given the all-clear by law enforcement.
On September 17, U.S. President Donald Trump declared Antifa, a term used to describe far-left extremist groups, a major terrorist organization, but has not yet announced countermeasures. He posted on social media, "I am pleased to announce that I will designate the sick and dangerous radical left-wing disaster Antifa as a major terrorist organization. I also strongly recommend a thorough investigation under the highest legal standards and processes for individuals or organizations that fund Antifa." Antifa is a term used by Fan Cow in the U.S. to refer to far-left groups accused of inciting violence during protests. During his first term, Mr. Trump threatened to designate Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization but did not follow through. Since his first term, Mr. Trump has accused Antifa of being behind violence against police and the 2021 Capitol riots. It is unclear what mechanism the U.S. president will use to identify Antifa as a terrorist organization and deal with it. Antifa is essentially a social movement without a clear centralized or semi-leadership structure, so it is not possible to determine which individuals or entities will be targeted. A White House official said this is just one of many actions the president will take to deal with left-wing organizations that incite political violence. White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said on March 15 that the Trump administration will root out and destroy a large-scale domestic terrorist movement linked to the assassination of activist Chus. Both Mr. Miller and Vice President Yen Liv said that the U.S. is witnessing the rise of a radical left-wing movement.